Welcome. Today we have with us Pooja Anjanikar ma'am. She's been a great influence in the edtech industry. She's done a lot. Of course, she has had her own set of struggles and obstacles that she had to overcome before she could reach here. But before we get on to her, I would just like to introduce myself. My name is Charvi. I work in igebra.ai as a HR psychologist. igebra.ai is not just a normal organization with math, but it teaches math plus plus. When I say plus plus, it talks about data and AI thinking as well because we feel that artificial intelligence is the future of tomorrow. So, with this, we also want to know certain opinions, certain facts. What Pooja ma'am feels is how kids are behaving these days, what kids fear, do they like math, do they fear math, and many other things. But before we begin, I would request Pooja ma'am to please give a small introduction about herself.
Thank you very much. My name is Pooja Anznikar and I'm principal for RK Foundation JNPB. JNPB is Jawaharlal Nehru School. It's an 30 years old school. And I've been into this sector since long, 20 years now, going into different regions, different, sticking to the same domain, but going into different, I could say, states, different regions, knowing different culture. That is somewhere is into like my hobby, I could say, knowing about people, knowing about different culture. So that has my total experience is built into that. So my if I talk about my qualifications, I've done my MEd, I've done my DEd, and Masters in Psychology, Masters in English, and with it, like work with different international schools. Also, experience in CBSE, and I'm an influencer and a motivational speaker. I have my own YouTube channel, and with it, I also guide and have train people into life coaching, making them know about what exactly how to use your knowledge, and making them more into wisdom creating person. So this is all about me.
Okay, that's amazing. That's great. We are really looking forward to know a lot about kids and about education. And also, you said you're a motivational speaker, so definitely I would want all our audience to take some motivation and inspiration from you towards the end of this program. So, thank you so much, ma'am, for accepting our invitation and being here with us. So, now, when I say kids, so these days, a lot of trends have changed when it comes to before the pandemic times and till now. Even the methodologies have changed because we have shifted to the online modes. So, what is your opinion on the same? So, what pros and what cons do you see in this method?
I'll start from, as you said, the word change. I start from my schooling. Almost 20 years before when I was in school, at that time, 22 years now. When I was in school, I was also having very fear of social science, maths, or something like that. If somebody asked me about how to remember formulas, how to remember chronological orders, how to remember the events, it was something like from the textbook to put it into the brain was a difficult challenge for me. And
Agree.
I used to write it down, I used to read the same content, and then other than becoming the parrot, I did not had any other option. The evaluation started now when years and years I could see children doing the same process because they don't understand the concept. But when the things come like audio visual aids have been come, different teaching methods have been come. Now the era has completely changed. From COVID period of time, people are started learning online. At the time when we were studying, like there was no kind of system of mobiles even. So
Right.
now everything is that fingertip, so it has really become more easy. Now we are also a student, like some, we are also doing our courses. At that moment of time, the textbook content becomes very limited for us. Later, only the audiovisual aids or the videos which are being available. Apart from that, we found out easy methods of learning. So same thing we start giving to the children, even to learn tables, what are the different methods, even to solve fraction. Uh, any mathematical sums or any kind of formulas for science, we give them a smart way of learning. So today's generation, I could feel, is somewhere where people wants to be a fast learner, a fast gainer, and also they want something which is easily available for them rather than being complex. So our duty as an educator here has been become is that making the known thing, bringing them from known to unknown process, making the things very much simpler to them, and then turning them to difficulty levels. Because if the fear of this has been there, because I also had the fear, but later I got so much motivation from my parents and that goal, to achieve that goal we need to do. But here again, children are been getting deprived from so many things. So for that case, to have motivation into the system, the teaching aid like audiovisual aids really becomes helpful.
Correct. I think that's very rightly put up how audiovisual aid is important. Although, of course, you have also done masters in psychology. So I think we can relate that how parents keep complaining that, because of the phone, because of the laptop, students are not able to concentrate. They keep switching the tabs and everything. I think, but yes, with every positive side, there is a negative too. And we always should focus on the positive. But as you know, according to psychology, human beings have the tendency to get attracted to the negative first. People do see the negatives, but as you rightly said, today's generation wants everything which is easy, smooth going, and they do not want anything like us. Like, we just studied from textbooks which were pretty fat, and I think to look at them also, it was scary at times, and we developed that fear which we haven't been able to overcome till now, maybe because we did not work it out. But I think with the concept of psychology also, ma'am, I would just like to ask you, since you come from this background, do you think dealing with kids and psychology and their hormones and their chemicals have a relation in education? Is it important?
Too much of connection, too much. The mental health, physical health, two different parameters is very challenging in today's era. Emotional quotient of a child,
Right.
making his mindset first, his mood for education. Why does the children get destruction? Because they are not at all moody to accept what is being taught to them. They are not ready to accept the teacher. They are not ready at all to accept what exactly is going around. They are only ready to accept what is going inside their brains, and that is like the grasping power has increased so much that whatever is coming to them, the new development, the new like in this COVID period also, there were so many things which were exposed to them.
Correct.
Because of that, like they are having that mindset, like what to accept and what not to accept. So things which are easier for them, they accept. And the great thing what tech industry has brought is that they have made learning very much easier to them.
Right.
So rather than playing games on the mobile, they play knowledgeable games. In fact, I have seen in somewhere past experiences of my school life, we started giving gamification kind of teaching learning tools. We started giving them learning method games for teaching maths, or teaching the videos for teaching historical events. Even some kind of dramifications were we started out. So there were different methodologies which were increased in the modern era. Because of that, the interest has also been developed. But sticking the span of attraction is only possible when we take care of their moods, take care of their mindset, and bring them from a negative zone to a positive zone of learning.
Definitely. I also strongly agree with you. Although, people do feel that psychological health or mental health is something which is very different from the physical health. But just like how physical health is important, I feel psychological health of students and kids is equally important. Academics and education is on one side, but I think maintaining that positive well being and psychological health also plays a major, major role in the development of kids. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, so ma'am, you use the term gamification right now. So I think this is a very good tool when it comes to math, especially, right? So when I
Yeah.
say math, do you feel that students really fear studying the subject, or what do you feel? What students feel when you just go and tell them about math as a subject?
If I tell you about maths, people, I have got parents coming to me saying that maths ki teacher ko badal do. She is not, she is not acceptable by children. So
Okay.
When I asked the reason, they said that whenever they see the teacher, they feel like to run away. They said that at least you can have an options of giving them subject classes, right, rather than giving division classes. Why
Oh,
can't you become so much developed that you have a English room, a maths room, a history room, so that our children have the choices to go into and learn into any room? I said it is just because of teacher or it is because of subject. The parent also they are also saying that it's just because of that maths is so fearing that who
yeah.
is going to keep that numbers into mind? Where to put point and where not to put point, that is also confusion. To making the fractions into whole and half, why we need to learn that trigonometry is also a different challenge for us. Why exactly we need to do that? So the purpose of learning maths is also not cleared. So at this moment of time, it becomes very difficult for us to maintain their thinking process, maintain their mood to bring back into maths. And I would really tell you, just because of this easy methods, we also in schools, we directly go and touch the textbooks. Like we take almost 4 to 5 periods to make them understand small concepts with the help of these videos, with the help of the support tools, with the help of technologies. Once they start learn the concept completely, then only we introduce the textbook or the sums. And with that ample practice, then only little bit when the child, why the child fear is that because they don't know how to do it. And
Correct.
when the teacher teaches them, that is been a very theoretical way. That is a way where a teacher has been learned by her own self. She's
Exactly.
not able to accept what has been into new era, or she's not able to accept that whatever been you've been teaching, it has been already been bombarded in their head where there is no space of acceptance into their mind. Only
Right.
what will be accepted is which they have not seen earlier. And with the there are like AI model is there, coding again, a gamification mode of coding is which has been come, which has really made the mathematics more easier to them. So the fear little bit has been going on, but with that they need ample of practices. So what we have been done is we have started including this kind of the coding system or the AI model or the new kind of gamification learning, tech learning content into our teaching. That is making our life easier.
Correct. I think, ma'am, that's rightly put up. Even, sometimes parents tend to support their children when children come and say a particular thing, but children come from different roots. They're just trying to put across something which is actually not true. It's just a cover up. They are just in a state of denial altogether. So, when parents come to you and say that, the maths teacher, maybe, you have to change and everything, so they possibly feel that, numbers ka kya karna hai aage jaake? What's the use? Ye formulas we are not going to use any which ways in future. But what do you have to tell them? Do you feel math is important at every stage of life? And if yes,
Every
then
stage
why?
of every stage of life. In fact, a clock when a watch they are using, if they don't know maths, they can't use that. The
Right.
mobile phone which they are using, they can't. It is also based off AI model. If they
Correct.
don't know maths, they can't learn this. Even in their daily life, if they don't know maths, they can't do their basic calculations, which is required to do their home budget even. And in today's generation, when IT is so much boom, without having a math subject, they won't be able to even get admission. The
Yeah.
parent knows that maths is important, but they are not ready to accept the way of teaching of maths.
Correct.
They are not ready to accept. They feel that it is just because of a teacher. Few days before only, I'll give you just share you an example. If there is no time bondage, I could share you one
Yeah,
example.
yeah,
Just
please.
now we had a unit test just finished, and there was one class which got around 1 mark, 2 mark out of 20, and
Okay.
the result was very bad. And another class, the B division, got almost 17, 16, 15, 14, such kind of marks. The
Yeah.
parents started comparing and they put the complete blame on teacher, saying that this teacher, the B division teacher was very good, the A division teacher ko maths padhane nahi aata, and why did you have put it in the class 8 standard? Uska basics nahi hai, the teacher is not capable of teaching maths standard. Then what suggestions they are giving me? 6 months you keep this teacher, 6 months you keep this that teacher, and then put a competition and see what result has been coming. So the thought process of parent is that they are looking towards the numbers. That is also maths. But thing is that the way of learning maths was difficult for them, and the blame was given to the teacher. When I sat with the teacher says that when I'm teaching them fractions, they are not able to do the calculations of additions and subtractions also.
True.
At that moment of time, I this at the class of 7th and 8th standard, how will I teach the class of 4th and 3rd standard syllabus? So at that point, it becomes very difficult for me to explain. I don't have a basic tool. How can I explain them? What will how could I complete my syllabus and how could I teach them basics? So that is a valid point. How will I do that? So I suggested them take help of. There are so many videos which will give them a homework or give them something. Make the children sit aside and give them something different ways of learning. They may not be able to accept the way you are teaching. So let's change the system and let's teach them in different manner. So this
Correct.
was my suggestion to them. But yeah, it is a very difficult process when it comes to the children to teach maths.
Yeah, I think that's rightly put up, because I think they keep piling it up at one standard. Like primary school, I think it's pretty easy to just pass and go into the next class. They, exactly. So they just keep it piling up. And I think senior teachers will definitely have a problem because base is not clear. And that's what we are supposed to do it. That as people of the edtech industry in today's world, and since we have so many tools now, we have storytelling, we have audio visuals, we have so many other interesting factors which can actually help us overcome this fear of mathematics in children, as well as I think in parents also, because all of them come from a very old school of thinking which we need to change. I think because all of us have evolved post the pandemic as individuals. I think even I wasn't that much tech savvy, but right now if you see, we are having this over an online mode. So like, why not? When we can, why we shouldn't? It's good to connect, no?
Yes.
Yeah. So ma'am, when you said, yeah, please tell me.
No, yeah, we need to actually give the awareness about new methods of teaching.
Correct.
Apart from that, giving them knowledge, the teacher should adapt it. Teacher should learn. If the teacher is not a true learner, a teacher is feeling that her experience is enough to teach a subject which is evolving and a subject which is going to bring fear by her teaching, then she needs to change in that manner. And she should also learn the new technologies.
Correct. Correct. That's absolutely right. They should learn it. Everyone should be flexible and fluid when it comes to learning. I think at any stage, be it you, be it me, anyone. So definitely that's one point. But I really like the point where you mentioned about how artificial intelligence model is coming into picture and how it is the future of tomorrow. So based on this, ma'am, we have a very short video of like a minute or so, and I would really, really be glad if you could give your inputs on the same. And what do you feel? Is this a good way of teaching math to kids so that the base is at least clear so that they do not experience fear in the later years? So I would just show, and please let me know what do you feel about it towards the end of it.
Friends, let's go to the Rob Art Museum. Yay, that's going to be fun. I'm super excited. Wow, that's cool. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Wow, this is amazing. Yeah, I wonder how he made it. Robanand must be a highly experienced artist. I know how Robanand makes it. Oh, really? How? Yeah, so curious. He makes it with programming mathematical shapes. Oh, come on. Programming in mathematics? Is that even possible? Yes, very much. That's called Rob Art. You can create anything you want if you understand how to analyze and program it. I want to learn Rob Art. Me too. Me too. Well, let's go to igebra.ai classes.
So this is what we call robot, where we are making use of math as well as coding into it, which people might feel that it's not possible, or some of them do not relate to this concept. But since we are talking how creative intelligence and artificial intelligence is the future of tomorrow, what are your opinions that you withhold when you see this video?
When I saw this video, now two things came into my mind. In our teaching technology, we have got a birding kind of peer learning pattern.
Right.
So cartoon and games, both are their peers. If you mix them into learning, definitely the child will get interest to learn.
Correct.
Then comes the language, which is a fear to them. A child, when is not able to understand the language, the child does not accept what is being coming forward to them.
Correct.
So when you make it in a simpler form to them, they generate interest and then they stick to the subject. When they generate interest and their friends are been teaching them, automatically they start getting connected to the subject, and then the learnings become more easier. I could see it's really a great idea. I feel disappointment that why it was not at my time, like,
Yeah.
because I used to definitely fail into my maths every time, and I still remember my miss, she used to pinch me up saying that you don't know maths. I could replace her with this video.
Actually, that's so true. I mean, it used to happen, I remember during my time we had RD Sharma's and Together With, and I don't know what all we had, and those were such scary books. But yes, today's generation, I feel they're very lucky because they haven't experienced what we experienced. So we feel how amazing it is all, but might be they do not experience it because they have been in this very easygoing, simple world where everything is just a Google away. So it's just a click away in a way.
I'll give you an example for this. One day, my student brought me, the teacher brought me the notebook of a child. Then he has solved three different methods, one sum.
Okay.
The teacher said me that she just crossed it up and she said, this is what I have been taught. And he is always doing three methods for one sum. Why he is doing that? When I brought the child said me that, ma'am, there are different easier ways to solve this sum. Why should I stick to one method? When the madam has given me problem, I am giving her different solutions. Why she is not accepting that? Different ways of giving solutions.
Right.
So it was a very valid point. Then I asked him, what did you do? He said that I just put that sum into Google and Google gave me different videos, different ways of method of solving them. There was different teacher who was explaining me that. So he was talking about a YouTube video which where a different teacher was teaching that concept, and then he combined that and created his own ways of solving that sum. He said, I have done my homework. Why you're sticking to the method which has been taught by the teacher? So it was a valid point.
Valid.
Here I could say is that when a child is learning by different modes and he wants that, then why should we, as in a school life, even today in state board schools, I could see that people are still sticking to the guides.
Correct.
People are still sticking to the same thing which years and years have been coming to them. But there are very different ways of solving. The concept is more important. Where do you use the SPI or where do you use the graph model? Today, when you don't learn graph, when you don't know how to create the geometrical figures, you're not able to become an architect. You're not able to do a presentation in your company.
Correct.
So this should be taught in the school. So when such kind of has been introduced in the school, automatically children will feel that the learning is more easier to them.
I think that's really rightly put up because creative learning is something, which you should never stop because there's no boundary to creativity, as we say. And the more they explore, the better it is for them for later life also. It's just not about marks now. It's about so many things. And as we say in psychology, holistic development makes a major role and impact in a kid's life. And of course, we all have individual differences. How I may function would be very different from how you function. And you might excel fantastically in one field and I might not. So I think this concept, I think even when we are saying programming and math, we should also have some psychology and math classes for parents as well as kids so that they understand how important our brain is and the way it's structured, the way chemicals are there, the way hormones are there. They play a major role in any kind of education for that matter.
Children now the leading towards the life. When it comes to like we as an principal of the schools, what we suggest children is that if you don't know where to utilize this trigonometry or where to utilize where they are being able to be helpful to them, so when they sit with their parents, I ask them, spend the quality time with your parents and ask them how do they do a presentation, how do they talk to their bosses, how do they talk to their colleagues. Even in Hindi class, if you don't know the uses of some vocabularies, how will you create your speeches? How will you develop your communication skills?
Correct.
So, true learning is practical learning. The use when the child understand that this is going to help me in future. Suppose if you don't know how your phone works, how will you able to operate that in easier manner? Because there are so many systems in the phone, we hardly use that. It's
Correct.
almost 25% only we use. But when we want an advanced facilities of phone, but we don't know how to use it, and we don't know the features. It is only
Right.
possible when you learn it, the basics.
Correct.
So the basics is more important when you understand the concept, and understanding the concept once when you have a friendship with that characters or the numbers or the elements.
Yeah, and I think because of that, the primary years play a major role, but parents feel okay, abhi to chota hai, abhi koi baat nahi kar lega aage jaake, is a very wrong concept which is portrayed in the Indian scenario. Because I think if that foundation is not strong, you can't build a building on that weak base. So I think that's very important, and you've rightly put it across also how important it is about peer learning. Also, even this thing is coming in many schools. How peer education plays a major role, where one peer is helping the other, which is a good concept, and definitely it should be put into practice in, I think, many schools, so that every child comes to that level of functioning what he and she desires, and later on they do not have any guilts about it.
Yeah, because see, mobile phone games are there, adults also play.
Correct.
But with the game model only, if they have taught some concept,
Mm-hmm.
so even solving of the puzzles, of solving of the sums in a game format, which will help them to make understand the concept more easier.
Right.
Even when I was doing my MA, rarely that it is such a big novel book. It will give me, I won't finish that in complete, in 365 days also.
True.
But what did I do is that I downloaded some videos, some cartoon movies, some real based movies, and based of that I was able to learn the concept more easier in just 2-3 days. The complete bigger book I was able to finish that. This is a smart way of learning.
Exactly.
The child should adapt that doing it.
Correct. I think, ma'am, that's rightly very well put across. And I think it's a great message, not just for kids, but also for their parents, that how important it is to find out simpler ways, yet effective ways, because today we have that access to technology and we really can do it. Because during our times, we all haven't been able to. But since we are in this era, I think we should make use of it to the fullest.
Yes.
So thank you so much, ma'am, for being a part of this. But before you just sign out of this, there's one creativity round, since we have been talking about so much of creativity and how it's important to explore your boundaries. So I'll be putting across maybe a statement or a word, and you need to answer to me with the word as a reply to what word I am talking about. Okay, so whatever comes into your mind first, you can just tell me that, okay, with this word, this comes into my mind all of a sudden. Okay?
Yeah.
So we go ahead. Okay, hobby.
No time for hobby.
Okay.
Here put by that, now hobby has been deducted as interested. Even I teach my children is that if you have hobby, you first need interest into it, and then you give a name to hobby.
Okay, that's good. Creativity.
Doing makeup and creating a different face of mine. Creativity for me. Learning new things is creativity for me.
Okay, math.
Here, I don't want that. I don't want maths. After that, they have never taken maths.
Okay.
Good banao subject ko mujhse.
Okay, good. Kids.
I love them.
Okay. Friends.
Want always more.
Okay, family.
Always there with me.
Your idea of motivation.
Self-learning.
Inspiration.
My mother.
Okay. So that's it from my side, and it was really, really nice to have some spontaneous answers from you. They were really fun also. So thank you so much, Pooja ma'am, once again to embrace our platform today. And it was really nice having you with all your ideologies, opinions, and facts, which are the need of the hour. And we really need to have it to spread it
Can I
to people.
can I suggest something?
Sure, please.
Uh, I don't know how children take it out. When I was in a school, age, I had fear with history even.
Okay.
I want somebody to develop some kind of methods of learning that history elements. I want even fear of language, Hindi, languages like even my mother tongue, writing that it's very difficult.
Yeah.
If you could just not focus on maths and focus on so many subjects like
Correct.
in language learning where arts sector is also coming down just because children are only focusing on medical and engineering
Yeah.
MBA. So now there are something called as literature even, there's something called as arts even, there is something called as business skills even. So
Correct.
this all, if we could focus, that will really bring an holistic development in the children.
Correct.
So this you can just appeal towards your company that we as an educators, I could talk in behalf of all complete educators that we really feel that a subject like Hindi really needs a creativity over there. A subject a subject like even English, when we teach them a grammar concept, really needs the game structure working into that. Even a computer concept should be taught them.
I
So
agree.
if we
I
could develop such kind of content, it would be really helping to us.
Definitely. Pooja ma'am, I think that's a very, very valuable feedback also. And I think we are taking those baby steps to emerge as an edtech. And definitely, I think I agree with you on this point, because Hindi, although it's our mother tongue and our Rashtriya Bhasha, as we say, but people do not actually make use of it to the fullest. If I say some big word and people will be like, what are you even talking about? So I think this is something which we face commonly. So definitely we'll take into consideration. So thank you so much, Pooja ma'am, for that. And before we wrap up, just one line or any one motivational thing that you want to tell to our kids and our parents out there about edtech, about learning, whatever you feel.
My grandfather used to tell me that whatever you see in your way,
Hmm.
read that at least, because that is knowledge. Knowledge directly goes into your brain. If you don't read that, it will just vanish away. But if you read, it will directly reach over here.
Correct.
So whatever is coming to your way, it may be anything. At least go through it. At least give an eye. At least give a chance to it. If you don't give chance, if you just don't try to it, you're never going to learn something new. So try, and then turning that into learning, and later adapting that will really change you into a different person.
Correct. I think that's very, very rightly put up. Thank you so much, Pooja ma'am, once again for embracing our platform and motivating our kids and parents, and which is extremely important and vital in today's times. Thank you so much. And I hope we'll stay in touch for future as well. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.